Welcome back to another Insider. And can you believe it? The month of May is gone. This is the last week of May, and we are fast approaching the end of financial year and the end of we're reaching the middle of the year, basically. So it's going fast. Today we are talking about something that it's a little bit of one of those hit and miss topics because for some might be a very good option and they think that is a good idea, and for others, I must admit, like myself, it might be a little bit of a big question mark, and sometimes you may even think it might be a no-no altogether. So I'm talking about cold calling. Let's see what it is and how it works, and what are the do's and the don'ts about cold calling. Come with me, let's talk about it. So let's talk about cold calling and the do's and the don'ts about it. I've spoken about this before. I have a little bit of a strong opinion about this. But of course, and as I always say, nothing is set in stone, because what may be, for example, culturally unacceptable in one country, it might be actually a good idea in another. So I always see every single thing, and even advice given with a little pinch of salt, because every single piece of advice that you get online, even from a YouTube channel, even from my YouTube channel, you always have to see it with the eyes of the culture where you are in. Because, for example, I am talking about what I know from the culture I am in, Australia, and also the other culture that I work with, Portugal. But if you are in another country, things might be totally different, and a few things that I might think are a little intrusive or culturally unacceptable for me, it might be actually the practice. So this is always something that you should be aware of, the cultures that you are working with, before making any decisions if this is a do or a don't. So for me, cold calling, first of all, let's see what cold calling is. Cold calling is, in some cases, and some people believe is a very strong and effective way of doing marketing. Most of the times, companies or service providers call possible clients, offering their services, either calling or via email. Now it had become really popular, email as well, offering their services, saying what they are about, etc., etc. Well, there is a few issues with this. First of all, effectiveness. As I said, again, you need to look at the culture of the country and what might be and might be not acceptable for that particular country. In some countries, and this is where you really need to know what you are doing, because in some countries might even be illegal. I know, for example, in Europe, a lot of countries have very strict privacy laws where you are not allowed to contact someone that you do not know and do an unwanted call or an unannounced call to offer your services for. So it is totally not appropriate, totally not acceptable. And I know Germany, it's one of these countries. So first of all, you need to be aware of the rules and the laws of the countries where you are possibly thinking about doing it. And secondly, you need to see the culture, if it's going to be effective, if it's not, if it's acceptable, if it's not. Well, now comes my opinion, obviously. I know that this wasn't very popular, but I've seen an increase in this type of marketing method in recent years. Phone calls, emails, in my case, more through emails. I received a lot of emails for services such as web designing services, marketing services, all sorts of services. And people can contact you through LinkedIn, can contact you through your email, can contact you all sorts of ways to offer their services. I've seen a very, very big increase on that. I also have watched recently in Australian TV that people are seeing this as spam, and in fact, they are pushing for a ban on cold calling altogether. So this is the situation as we stand in Australia, for example. I don't see it, and this has been my position for a very long time. I lived in Portugal, for example. I lived in Portugal for 30 years, and I don't think this sort of thing is very well accepted there. People don't really like to receive unwanted calls. Of course, when you are in a company, things work differently, but still, you are running a company, you are doing your job, you have no time to be on the phone. Quite frankly, you have no time to be on the phone. I think email is a tiny little bit more acceptable because it's not as intrusive as calling someone, being on the spot and just calling someone and saying, look, I'm such and such, I offer these and in those services. First of all, if you want to do it, yes, just go ahead and do it. But again, be aware of laws, be aware of culture, be aware of all these other factors, because if you are doing it, for example, in a country where it is illegal, you may end up in serious trouble. If you are doing it in a country where it's not well accepted, it may backfire, and obviously you may be seen as a spammer and not getting the client at all, because the client obviously is going to walk away or hang up in your face or delete the email, and you will never hear back from them again. Another issue that comes also associated with this, and it's unfortunate because obviously there's a lot of legitimate service providers that may be sending you emails because they really run a business and they're really trying to do a marketing campaign. But the problem is there's also a lot of scammers. We've spoke about this last week, about online scams and how they now became more and more and more elaborate and sophisticated. And again, every single email, as I said last week, every single email that you receive must be scrutinized, and you must know every single bit of it, if it's believable, if it's not, if it's credible, if it's legit, if it's not. And it's a given that if you are going to receive an email offering you for services, offering you something, people are gonna overlook it and are gonna look at it with a little bit of I'm not sure about this, because they are going to associate this is probably just another scam. Because unfortunately that's what has been happening. There's been a very, very steep increase in this type of scams online, in you receiving hundreds of emails saying either that you got you receive part of some deceased estate, or that you obviously associate with a scam straight away. But these are the ones that are not elaborate at all, and you can automatically see that no, this is a scam. But some may have a very beautiful logo and can really look like a legitimate company, and then if you fall for it, you will find out that you may lose thousands of dollars. So and people are skeptical. Let's be honest about it. We we are now in a world that we tend to be skeptical because we live in a world of misinformation, of fake things going on, especially, for example, social media, etc., where people create all sorts of things that are fake, creating with AI, and they create things that are fake. And people tend to be skeptical. I know I am, and I know a lot of people are too. In my view, for example, calling, it's a bit intrusive. I wouldn't do it, for example, I wouldn't do it in Australia. I definitely wouldn't do it in Portugal. I'm not sure about other countries, and that's why I'm saying that what I find that is totally a no-no, or I wouldn't do it for Australia and for Portugal, doesn't mean that if you are in another country, it wouldn't be a good idea. Always test the waters. Always make sure you know the law, because that's very important. And secondly, the culture. You need to know these two factors before trying any of this, because it may backfire, either legally or culturally. I wouldn't do calling. First of all, if you think that you are prepared to do something like this, that is something that you are comfortable with, that is the main thing. You need to be comfortable with. Because calling a stranger, out of nowhere, offering you services, it's not easy. Let's face it. Well, I must admit I would never do it because first, I'm not confident with it. And secondly, I think it would be rather intrusive. I wouldn't like to receive a call like that, so therefore I do not do it. But of course, again, it all depends on your culture. So if you are confident in doing it, if you think that the country where you work and your possible clients would be receptive to something like this, then please go ahead and do it. You must have a very, very good marketing campaign. You must structure all of these, have all the topics you're going to talk about very well prepared, know about all the possible questions. If you think this is a receptive kind of thing, that the person is going to be receptive to your call, chances are they're going to ask you questions. So have all the topics ready, all the possible questions that your client may ask you on that call. So first of all, you show knowledge, you show that you are prepared. Secondly, you show confidence, you are very confident in what you're saying, and that obviously may translate into a sale, because if you are calling the person, if the person is receptive to your call, they ask you questions about your services, what do you do, what type of services, they might eventually have some sort of translation that they need, and they may ask you, look, we need this type of translation, would you do this type of service? And you need to be prepared to answer all these questions on the spot and with a lot of confidence. You can't stumble, you can't be, because if you are, you're not showing confidence, and the person on the other side, oh, well, I know this person is trying hard, but it does not look like they're very confident. So I'm not sure. So if you decide to do it, this is the terms that you have to bear in mind, and that you need, by no means, you need to comply. Confidence and knowledge. You need to be knowledgeable about the information you are providing to your client. Clear. Don't make a call a very long call. People don't like that. Think about it. Time is money. They are running a business. You are running a business. You don't want to waste your time. They don't want to waste their time. So you need to be aware of that. So train, practice all the topics that you want to say. You don't really need to do like an historial of all your business, of everything. Just, first of all, what client are you calling? What do they do? So if you know what do they do, automatically you think, well, within this type of business, within this type of activity, what type of services would they possibly need from me? And then cater that call for that. Go straight to their needs. Just don't be generic and say, oh, okay, I offer certified translation of driver's licenses to a company that, for example, manufactures, parts for a mechanical engineer or something like that. Well, it's a flop straight away. So you need to know who you're calling first, and what type of information, what type of service would they be interested in. That is your goal. And then cater that call with simple topics. Be very clear, very simple, very confident, saying we offer these services. I know that you work in this field. I happen to work in this field as well. I can offer you this type of service in case you need it, this and that. Be knowledgeable, be confident, and go straight to the point of what you think they might need. And if they do, you are there to help them with that. That is what you should be doing. Don't generalize. Don't go for a half an hour call, because it's going to be a flop. They will not be receptive to such a long call for sure, unless it's them extending the call with more questions, with more things that they would like to know. And in that case, yes, fine. If the client is receptive, keeps on asking questions, again, you need to be prepared to answer them on the spot, knowledgeable, with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of confidence. If the client asks, respond right away and say, well, this is what I offer, this is the options that you have, you can do this, you can do that. So they see that you not only have options for them, but you know exactly what they may need and what may be appropriate for their case. So show them that. Show them solutions. So you call the client and you call them telling them that you have a solution for a possible problem they have. And that might get their attention. But be concise, be thorough, and be clear. I think that's the secret. If you really decide to do this, that's the way to do it. If you do it via email, I think, honestly, email is a less intrusive way of doing it. Again, you also fall into that danger zone of people associating you with a scam, but that's gonna happen regardless. But if you do it through an email, the principles are basically the same. Don't write a very long email explaining all sorts of services you provide. It's not gonna have any response. You again need to search what type of client you are contacting and what solutions would you bring to that client. They don't want a list of services. They want a solution. Oh, you might have a problem here. Maybe you will need to translate your website. I've known that you are now entering this market. Maybe you would be interested in website translation. I can offer that service. I can do this, I can do that. This is the way I can help you out with that. Just go straight to the point of where you think you possibly can get that client. Basically, that's what it is. Present solutions. Don't present a list of services. Present them with solutions. This is what I can do for you. This is how I can help you with whatever you see that you might help. For example, if you offer more than one service, like translation and website creation, for example, you can do copywriting. That would be, you can possibly talk about a package that you may offer. I can offer you a package where I can do the copywriting for your website. I can prepare the whole thing. I can build your website, do the copywriting, write the copy for your website, and then obviously translate it into the other language so you get the full package. I can do this, I can do that. You have to accommodate that and show the client a solution. That is the purpose of this. Again, I would say that emailing is slightly more acceptable because it's not as intrusive. People can answer on their own terms. You're not in their faces. You're not just, I would say, interfering with their time. So if I was going to do something like this, I would definitely prefer to do it via email than phone. As I said, I've heard recently, due to a massive increase on cold calling in Australia, that there was even talks about banning it because people are not really receptive to it. So it's, as I said, it's a very, very, very polarizing, if you like, but definitely a eat and miss topic, because may be a very good and well accepted option for ones and a totally unacceptable option for others. And you can't just listen to someone and that tells you, oh yeah, just go ahead and do it, it's basically perfect and this and that. And then, for example, if you are working with a company or if you are working with a country like Germany, for example, where it's totally banned and you can't do it, you end up in trouble. So be aware, first of all, of the environment, where you work, what are the rules, what is the culture, what's the ideas, what is acceptable and it's not, and then make your decisions according to that. As I always say, advice online, just like this one in my channel, it's only good if it works where you are. So you always need to be critical of what you hear it and what the other person is saying. I'm giving you advice and I'm talking about this and telling you of my experience being an Australian citizen, working in Australia and working with another country, which is Portugal. So I have these two cultural references where this type of thing may not be the best thing in the world. However, I am not sure if, for example, you are talking from, I don't know, maybe the United States or maybe the UK or maybe, I don't know, Brazil or Argentina or Angola or Japan or Singapore. I don't know if it's acceptable there. So my first advice, analyze your culture, analyze your country, the law first. First and foremost, you need to know, is it legal? Can I do it? If the law doesn't say anything against it, then your next step, is it culturally acceptable? Do people really like this type of marketing campaigns? Would it work? And then once you have these answers, if the answer is yes, yeah, perfectly fine, people do it all the time here, then you need to structure that campaign. You need to know exactly who you're going to contact. I would say, for example, LinkedIn is an amazing tool for that, because if you are following the companies that you are your ideal client profile, you probably have people that work in that company associated with the company itself, And then I would say if you contact someone in HR would be the best person to maybe put you in contact with the right person if they are not the right person already, or maybe someone in the marketing department. But you must be aware of what they might do within the company already, because of course if they have a marketing department, if probably they already have a full team dedicated to that marketing for social media, for all that part of the business, you are not going to offer them to take care of their social media pages, because obviously they're going to say, oh no, we already have a team appointed for that. So be aware of what the company has, what departments the company might have, what is the structure, what do they do in-house, or what do they actually offset, what they actually get from somewhere else. And whatever they get from somewhere else that matches your profile, that matches your services, that's the solutions you need to present to them. So when you contact them, either via email or via the phone, you need to be very confident that you are offering them a solution for a problem. Oh, I've seen you are expanding to this market. I happen to be a translator. I can help you with the translation of your website. I can even translate any documentation that you might need for the authorities. I'm a certified translator. For example, this is just an example. So if you do it, if you are confident, if it's acceptable, if you want to do it, you need to be confident, but you need to be going straight to the point, showing that person, this is what I identified as a possible problem for you, and I am here because I think I've got a solution. This is your mindset. This needs to be your mindset, and this needs to be the way that you are going to contact that client and address this issue. So this is why I decided to talk about cold calling again. I've heard again that, for example, in Australia, looks like people are not very happy with this type of campaign. As I said, marketing is never an easy thing, and a lot of people don't like it. I have said it many times. It's not my favorite thing either. It's very, very difficult. But if you run a business, it's part of your business and you need to do it. So you need to find ways of doing it, creative ways of doing it within the law, and that are going to be effective and get you the clients. So I decided to talk about this again because I've seen an increase, mainly in my case, mainly through email. And I must admit, of course, I'm not going to be rude and just, be unkind or anything like that. I don't think that's the way to do it, even if you think it's a scam. If you think it's a scam, you just delete the email and not even respond to it. But if you think it's just a legitimate email, think about it. It's just someone trying to run their business and trying to get a client just as much as you are running your own marketing campaign and you are trying to get clients for yourself. So I wouldn't say that being unkind or rude, even if it's on the phone, even if it's very intrusive and you think it's very intrusive, and they are, for example, and this happens if you are in the middle of a project, you need to be focused on what you're doing, because we know translation requires a lot of focus, a lot of, you need to be looking at what you're doing, because if something distracts you, you lose that line of thought and then you have to go and almost start again, I would say a paragraph or a sentence, because you lose that line of thought. So, and it might be really a very big nuisance if you are doing that, if you are in the middle of a project and your phone rings and it's someone just trying to offer services. I know that a lot of us would be extremely upset. I know I would. But of course, we need to think that the other person on the other side is just trying to run the business, and they are just trying to get clients, just the same way we do for our own business. So I don't think being unkind or something like that would work. I usually just say, oh, thank you very much for your call. I'm not interested at this stage. Thank you. Sometimes one of the things that I think, and I would like to talk about it today, is that one of the things that I really find, and in that case, I really find annoying, and this happens specifically, or at least I've seen it only on LinkedIn, is sometimes the person contacts you with an offer for a certain service, and it's like an automated message. So they already have a preset answer that you can either answer, yes, I'm interested. It's always a positive answer, so you can't answer negative. So I just disregard the thing altogether. This is one of the things that I really don't appreciate. Another thing is when they contact you and you say, I'm not interested at even if it's an automated message that you have the choice of saying not interested, but they still carry on. I think that is where you lose the client. And this is my view. If you are trying to contact someone and someone shows, I'm not interested at this stage, that person is signaling you that they are not interested. I know it might be frustrating. I know it might be sad because you invested so much time and effort to contact that client and to try to get that client, and you got a rejection. You got a negative answer. That's not the way to try to reply back and, oh, but I wouldn't say that is a good approach, because you are just pushing the client, and the more emails, the first email, they may just see it as a contact. You are trying to offer your services and they say, thank you very much, but I am not interested at this stage. But the second email, they might say, okay, I have already said no. But if you continue, they will put you on the nuisance basket. So if in the future they need a service like that, because you are on that nuisance basket, they will never contact you. So think about it. Just because you have a no today does not mean that you won't have a yes 6 months time, 1 year time, whatever. Because you contacted that client said, okay, I don't need your services. You kindly say, okay, thank you very much. Just feel free to contact me anytime should you need my services in the future, and leave it be. Leave it the way it is. I'm sure that maybe if that client possibly wants your services or services that are comparable to what you offered, they may think, okay, I got this message, let me just give a go to this person, because they were respectful, they introduced the business, I was not interested at the time, but now I am. They might just contact you to ask for a quote. So don't be pushy. I think that is another thing that I believe is very important, not to be pushy, because if you are pushy, the more you push, the further away that sale is going. This is my experience. For example, as a customer, if people are trying to put a product in front of my eyes, I'm pushing it all the time, I am very adverse to this type of thing, and chances are I'm going to walk away from it. So be aware of these rules of engagement, I think. Offer your services, don't push them, because you might be just pushing that client way too far and then it's lost. So, rules, law, culture, and then information and rules of engagement. I think this is the secret. If you really want to go for this type of marketing campaign, if it's really effective where you are, just by no means go for it, but be aware of all these rules. Be aware of doing it the right way, because that may mean the difference between a failure and success. This is why I brought this today, because I wanted to really, first of all, talk about the way that it might be perceived in different parts of the world, and even in regards to regulations. And secondly, the way that we should see it as business people. Think about it. If you don't like it for yourself, don't do it on others, because it was not going to work. You are. And that's all for today. I hope it really helped you understand the do's and don'ts of this cold calling. Especially, I think what is the main thing here is, as always, critical thinking and being aware of your environment, of your market, what is acceptable and it's not where you are, and then make your own business decisions based on that. Preparation, always a must. And if you follow these very simple rules, I think you will be right. What I think is really the main thing to take from this insider today is that this is not an effective marketing tool for everyone, and the secret is knowing exactly if it is or isn't where you are, and of course, if it is, build up that campaign properly with all the information that is relevant for each client, so you have better chances of success. General things won't work on this case. I don't think they do on any case by that matter. So please be aware of all of this. You know, if you have any questions about this or any other subject, please drop me a line below. I'm very, very happy to help you and answer your queries. Or if you have a suggestion of a topic, obviously translation related or language related, please suggest. I'm very happy to also accommodate that and maybe do an insider on that topic. You know, my channel has been growing. I have been saying this for many times now, and I'm very happy and grateful, not upful, very happy and grateful for you being there on that side. It wouldn't be possible if you weren't there. But I have a little request. Please put a like and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell, so you get not only a notification of a new insider every week, but you also help my channel, because the YouTube algorithm will pick up that you are watching, that you have subscribed, you put a like, maybe a comment. I would be very grateful for that too. Since it has all of this, it spreads my message or my videos to more viewers. So this is why I'm really happy and asking you, please, if you can, if you really like my videos, if you like talking about translation and languages in general every week with me, so please put a like, subscribe my channel, and put a click on the bell. You get a notification, so you know if there is another video for you to watch, and then you make your own decision if you want to watch it or not. This is not, by no means, I'm not spamming you, or it's not compulsory, it's not paid, it's totally free, and it will help my channel grow. So before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.